So a US LLC is very often the ideal business structure for digital nomads. However, there is a lot more to that story than just registering an LLC in Wyoming and moving on with your life. My name is Bobby Casey, and I am the founder of businessanywhere.io. Today we're going to be talking about the benefits of registering an LLC as a digital nomad and some of the other considerations you have to think about if you're trying to optimize for your taxes. So first of all, we really need to break this down into two different audiences. We have a US audience and a non-US audience. And I'll keep it brief, but we'll start with non-US audience first. So a US LLC, you've got to understand, is the default tax election of a US LLC is what we call a disregarded entity for tax purposes. What that means is the income from that LLC flows through to you as the owner. So that means you as the individual will have a tax obligation based on your personal tax situation. So there are a lot of nuances to that. In most cases, running your income through a US LLC does not create a US tax obligation for you unless you have what's called ECI, or effectively connected income to a US trade or business. And what that means is you have a physical office in the US, or you have employees where you're withholding payroll tax on them, or maybe you're selling physical goods in the US with a physical delivery of those goods. So all of those things would be considered ECI. If you're not doing any of those things, then you don't have ECI and you wouldn't have a US tax obligation. Some examples would be you're doing consulting, coaching, you're selling digital products, ebooks, maybe you have a software company and it's all digital download software or SaaS business, that type of thing. That would not constitute ECI in the US unless you're running the operational side of the business through an office in the US. So with that said, it passes through to you as a disregarded entity to the owner. You as an individual don't have a tax obligation if you're a non-US person. So the income flows through to you personally. The only tax obligation you would have at that point is based on your personal tax residence. So there's a lot of variables to consider there. Are you a tax resident in the country where you live? Well, I think we're speaking predominantly to a digital nomad audience, so you need to understand the differences in tax residency. And you can see some videos that we have on our YouTube channel on that topic about tax residency, so I don't want to go into depth about that particular topic, but you need to consider your own tax residency at this point. And it is entirely possible, if you have structured your business and your life correctly, you do not have tax residency. And that's what makes US LLCs very attractive to digital nomads, is because if you have no ECI and you have no tax residency, that means you're earning your income 100% tax-free. That's where it makes it extremely attractive for digital nomads. Let's flip to the American side. If you're a US digital nomad living abroad, you still have to file and pay tax in the US. So you fall under what we call a Tier 4 country, or a citizenship-based worldwide tax system from a tax residency perspective. So as an American, even if you live in Mexico or Spain or Portugal or anywhere else in the world, you still have to file and pay tax in the US. However, there are a lot of loopholes you can take advantage of as a non-US resident. So you can take advantage of things like the Foreign Earned Income Exclusion and the foreign tax credit. And that would make having a US LLC very attractive for you because it simplifies your tax filings. It flows through to you personally, and then you just file and pay your tax and take advantage of those loopholes back in the US. So I hope that makes sense for all of you watching this today. And I can tell you the majority of our non-US clients and the majority of our digital nomad American or non-American clients typically register their entities, their LLCs, in Wyoming. Other common jurisdictions would be South Dakota, New Mexico, Delaware, Florida. Those are also very common. So if you need help registering companies in any of those locations, you can do that on our website at businessanywhere.io. We offer free company formation. You only pay for the state filing fee. And then if you need any additional services that, might be necessary for your personal situation. If you need a more complete setup, we do have our Digital Nomad Kit, where you get 2 hours of consultations with me to help you sort out your personal situation, as well as registering your company, your registered agent address, your virtual mailbox. We help with your tax filings, your bookkeeping, opening bank accounts, everything from start to finish. So take care and have a great day.